You already know that fractions can be equivalent when they don't have the same numerator and denominator. You also know how to use number lines to make equivalent fractions. In this lesson, you'll learn to write equivalent fractions without using a number line. In each case, you'll write a new fraction with a denominator that is larger than the denominator in the original fraction. When we do this, we call it expanding a fraction. For example, suppose we want to find a fraction that's equivalent to 2/3 but has a denominator of 6. Let's first review how we do this on the number line. First, we want to show 2/3 on the number line. Since we want our equivalent fraction to have a denominator of 6, we want the number line to have 6 parts in each whole instead of 3. To show this, we'll use another number line. We'll divide each third into 2 new parts, like this. We know that each whole unit has 3/3. And each third is now divided into 2 parts. This means there are 6 parts in each whole, since 3 times 2 is 6. Since each whole has 6 parts, these parts are called sixths. We can illustrate what we've done in our original problem like this. We've multiplied the denominator by 2 to get 6 parts per unit instead of 3. Now, let's look at the fraction 2/3 shown by the arrow. Our fraction is still 2/3. But now, we can now describe the same fraction using sixths. Since each of the 2/3 is now divided into 2 sixths, and 2 times 2 is 4, we have 4/6 in the fraction. In other words, when we divide each third into 2 parts, we automatically create 2 times as many parts in the numerator. We show that like this. 2 times 2 is 4. So, when we multiply, we get 4/6. The fraction 2/3 becomes 4/6. We describe this situation by saying that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. When we say that one fraction is equivalent to another fraction, both fractions represent the same point on the number line. So each fraction represents the same number. The only difference between the fractions is that they are written with 2 different denominators. We can rewrite any fraction as an equivalent fraction with a different denominator without changing the fraction. Let's look at an example without using the number line. In this case, we want to rewrite the fraction 5/2 with a denominator of 8. First, we want to determine which number we need to multiply the original denominator 2 by, to get the new denominator 8. We know that 2 times 4 is 8. So we need to multiply the numerator by 4 to get an equivalent fraction. 5 times 4 is equal to 20. So the fraction 5/2 is equivalent to 20/8. One last example. Here, we want to find a fraction with a denominator of 18 that is equivalent to 1/6. First, we want to determine what number we need to multiply 6 by to get 18. We know that 6 times 3 is 18. So we multiply 6 times 3 to get 18 as the denominator. Now we need to multiply the numerator by 3 also. 1 times 3 equals 3. So the fraction 3/18 is equivalent to 1/6. In the remainder of this lesson, you'll practice expanding fractions like these.